there, it's Juliana Michaels and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how I like to swatch and label my distress products. This comes as a request from one of my viewers, so I just thought I would share with you my process on how I like to do this. So what I've done here is I've gathered together all of one color of the different mediums that I swatch and label from my Distress palette. And the color I'm working with here is Salvage Patina. So I've got the sprays, the paint, the embossing glaze, and the ink pads. The only thing I don't swatch and label is the Distress crayons. Just not really any need to do that because of how they are stored. But these products I do like to kind of have labels on so that I can see them because of how I store them. So when it comes to creating the swatch and labels that are on the lids for the various products, I like to use these Ranger labels. So they come in this small round shape and then a little bit larger. And these are stickers that are pre-cut. So these come, in sheets. There's 5 per pack, and there's, I think 54 of them on one sheet times 5. So there's a lot there. And then the same thing with these smaller ones. And there's 5 sheets of those as well. So the smaller ones fit on top of the spray bottles. And then the larger ones work great on the paints. And you can also use these on the embossing glazes as well if you'd like. But I'm going to show you a little bit of a different method that I use for labeling those. And then when it comes to doing the ink pads, Ranger also has some rectangular sticker ones as well that you can use. I personally like to print out the name on my ink pads. That's just a personal preference. I don't worry about the name on all the other products, but I do like it on my ink pads. I think it's just a habit because I've had it on there for so long. And you can go to the Ranger website. I'll have a link to that in the description box below. And they have all of these labels created and ready to go. All you have to do is download the PDF, and then you can take the scrapbook.com project sticker paper and it's just paper on one side, and then there's a liner on the back side that you can peel off and it becomes a sticker. But you can print all of the labels onto that paper, and then you can use scissors or your paper trimmer to cut those out and then just peel and stick them to the ink pads, and you are ready to go there. The other option, like I mentioned, is the ones from Ranger, and the method I'm going to share with you on how to get the color onto these. You'll do the same thing for the ink pads as well. So when it comes to doing the labeling, the Distress Spray Stain and the Distress Ink, those two are similar. And then the Distress Oxide and the Distress Oxide Spray, those are similar. These are a little more of a translucent color, and these are a little more opaque. Paint is also more opaque. And then the spritz kind of falls in between, and then this is kind of its own separate thing too. So I'm going to share with you how I swatch all of these. And to do that, I just peel off the sticker, center it on the lid of my different sprays here. So I've got the spray stain, the spritz, and the oxide. And then for the spray stains, I take the Distress ink pad and literally just rub it over the surface. You might kind of just take a little corner, rub that over the surface to apply the ink to the label, and then do the same thing with the other one. And then just set that to the side to dry on the paper. And then once that's dry, then you can just take a cloth and wipe off any of the ink that maybe got onto the plastic lid. And your spray stain and your spritz are labeled so that if you, like for me, I keep these in a bin that's down in a drawer, and so I can easily look down and just kind of look for the colors that I'm interested in. So I don't always think like, oh, I for sure want salvage patina, but sometimes I do. And if that's the case, I know what basic color it is, and then I can just kind of go to where I keep those colors and pull out the right one there. And then when it comes to the oxide spray, then I use the oxide ink pad to do that same thing. So I just rub it over the surface, let that ink dry, and then I can use a cloth to wipe off that excess ink. So the oxide ink will take just a little bit longer to dry because of the pigment ink that is in there. So I'm also going to do that same process for my paint. Again, just gets you a close approximation of the color, and it's just an easier way to apply that than trying to put paint on that sticker. So again, just let that dry, and then you can take a craft cloth and just wipe around the edges, and it's ready to go. So then with the other labels, that the rectangle labels that Ranger also has, I would use this same process to do those kind of labels on my ink pads if I want to have labels that don't have the wording on there. So that will give you then more of a true swatch color if you use the sticker labels from Ranger, but you can also do the printed ones and use the sticker paper that I mentioned. And this is compatible with inkjet printers, and you can also use, an electronic die cutting machine with this paper as well. So some options there on how to label your ink pads. Another option with the sticker paper for the sprays and the paints is that you could also use punches, or like I mentioned, your an electronic cutting machine, and you could create little stickers to put on the top of the bottles if you don't want to buy the pre-made stickers from Ranger. Just another option if you already have some kind of sticker paper that you can use. So when it comes to the embossing glazes, I do that a little bit differently. So what I like to do is take a piece of white cardstock, and you could use punches or circle dies, and then just cut out a circle that's kind of close to the size of the lid there. And then you're just going to ink that up with your embossing ink of choice. So I just kind of like to tap it in there. Make sure and get a good coverage. And then I'm going to pour the color over that. Pick it up and then just tap off the excess. And this is where it can get a little bit tricky as far as doing the heat embossing. So I like to just work on some kind of surface that can handle the amount of heat. So the surface I'm working on here is just a silicone kitchen trivet, but any kind of a any kind of a surface that can tolerate the heat, you can work on for this. And then I'll turn my heat gun on, let it warm up, and then use that to melt the embossing powder. And then just let that cool. And then once it's cooled, I have found that Glossy Accents works really well to adhere this to the lids, because this is a metal lid. So I just apply a little bit of that to my lid here. And then just kind of hold that down for a few seconds to let the adhesive kind of set. You can also set like a stamping block on top there just to kind of help hold it down while it continues to dry and set. So there you have it, just a quick look at how I like to swatch and label my various Distress products. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment or reach out via email. Until next time, stay crafty, my friends. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can join me on a more regular basis. Hit the like if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to join me on my other social media platforms, you can find the links to those in the description box below. Also, feel free to leave me a comment if you have any questions or if there's something you'd love to share with me and our community. I'll see you in the comments below and in the next video. Until next time, stay crafty, my friend.